Thanks for hanging in there. And this is part two. As I was saying, I could hear the protest in my headset. I don't make the rules, though. I only remind you of the rules. So, what's going on with all of these foods? And I know we're all used to eating them. I have become accustomed to eating the hamburgers, the hot dogs, the red meat, and I would even buy 2% milk and instead of full fat milk because I thought I was doing something good for myself and my family. But the above named foods are capable of creating tears in your arteries. Here's a couple of reasons why you don't want to continue to eat the processed foods that we have become accustomed to. And I'm telling you this because it's not widely known or even discussed when you go to the supermarket, I am sure. But the above named foods are capable of creating tears in our arteries. Have you ever heard death by 1,000 cuts? That's what ultra-processed food is doing to us. The cooking oils are causing damage to our cells and causing us inflammation. The fat is creating plaque in the arteries, and the animal muscle meat, because we're made of skin, muscle, and bone, right? So are animals. So what we're all eating, or what we have been eating, is the muscle meat of an animal. It's raising our cholesterol LDL numbers. The sodium, not that you added any, but the sodium that's in the food is too much for us and has nowhere to go but into our arteries. And that is adding fluid to the arteries and causing the kidneys to overwork. And the kidneys are filters and must look for ways to eliminate and store this salt. And if you look down at your ankles, if they're swollen and your rings are tight on your hand and your face looks puffy, guess what? You probably have too much salt in your system. Add to the fact that the above named foods also, like the meat and snacks, have no fiber. Without fiber, the triglycerides, that's the fats in the blood, don't get pushed out of the body. In turn, the fat in the blood then gets recirculated and goes through the body all over again. So if the food has no fiber, there's no way to get that is extra triglycerides out of our system. The sugar added, not that you added any sugar, but the sugar that's added is probably not even sugar. And that is wreaking havoc and overloading the liver. And I'm particularly talking about high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners. What can the liver do but to store the excess sugars as fat? So whatever you eat, and if you're having anything that has zero in it or high fructose corn syrup and you're having it 3 meals a day, we're overloading the liver. There's a disease called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And in the research I was doing, they were saying that doctors prior to 1980 never even knew that this condition existed. So guess what? They don't even have a drug for it yet. Be mindful of what you're putting in your body. Do this consistently. Eating some of these ultra-processed and processed foods will catch up with you, if not sooner than later. But here's the clincher. The same government agencies that allow the poison pushers to influence and make laws that favor the food industry have put blacks back on the auction block. We've been sold to the highest bidder. So the poor, the economically challenged, and who already live in substandard housing, have substandard education and health, well, they're the targeted consumers of choice. And here is why. So they can sell their poor quality, substandard food laced with ingredients only a chemist could pronounce. In turn, we lap down this non-nutritive, high-caloric, high-salt, high-fat, high-sugary substances. Wait, watch, and agree. My blood pressure is up. I was just told I'm pre-diabetic. Yep, here we are again. The poor health markers begin. For many, the outcome of eating Fruit Loops, KFC, Domino's, and sweet tea and energy drinks will eventually take its toll on us. And it may, like I said, take 10 to 15 years to manifest. But it will come without. Their research clearly states that blacks, especially blacks, take first place in every health marker that the CDC has recorded in all 7 of their top markers. Cancer, obesity, and now even dementia. We're number 1 in dementia. Did you know that? High blood pressure. If anybody has it, we have it. 55% of all African Americans have some form of high blood pressure issues. There's no stone that has been left unturned. Some health markers list other cohorts like Hispanics, Native Americans, and Pacific Islanders, but dang, number one? I mean, this is what we need. We're number one. But it's the worst and it's the most negative marker to be number one in. Once again, is it just bad luck or bad genes? Can we change it? Of course we can. We're number one in every chronic disease category documented, but it makes sense that we can be number one in turning this around. But for the food industry, the marketing makes sense. Corn, soy, wheat, and denatured meat, stripped, enriched, fortified, and enhanced with artificial colors, flavors, and emulsifiers and stabilizers is what's for dinner. Once the damage is done, we get handed over to now the pharmaceutical companies to finish the doggone job. Take heed, people. I told you, I was one. Everything that looks good to you is not necessarily good for you. So the food that is better for our health, of course it costs more. But then so are the trips to the hospital and chemotherapy treatments. Let's not opt for high blood pressure as a trade-off for 2 slices of pepperoni pizza. Give these items a try. Let's go back to eating foods that make sense, that don't have labels and not trying to advertise to us, like fiber-rich foods like fruits and vegetables that have no labels. We have to start eating dense foods that actually help push out triglycerides and toxins from our system. Beans, which are low-fat, fiber-rich, and nutrient-dense. There's nothing wrong with eating red beans, black beans, white, whichever ones you like. Add it to some vegetables. It will replace the protein that you think you must have from the denatured meat that they're offering to us. Whole grains rather than foods made with white flour. Try some nuts and seeds, which contain healthy fats and fiber. And please, low-fat and fat-free dairy products, leave them in the store. Fish or shellfish, try using a different type of oil too. And I'll refer you back to a podcast I did early on called You May Need an Oil Change, and see which oil is actually best for you for cooking. Try some water with some lemon or fruit in it instead of a soda or sweetened beverages. This can be done. I'm proof, okay? So I had to, like I always tell you, I'm in food recovery too. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, had all of that, and still working on it. I'm going to thank you for stopping by. I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, and pass this podcast along. Health News and Views, Food, the Final Frontier. It's always a pleasure to have you. And remember the karma rule. What goes around comes around. We can't keep doing bad and expect good. Make it a powerful day. Peace and blessings. Do come back.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Health News and Views. Join us again next time as we continue to explore the correlation between food, sickness, and health. If you like the show, please subscribe and leave a review for Lynn. She would love to hear your comments. Thanks again for listening, and remember, food is the final frontier.